wrong camera came up, but hey, we're in. I'm going to go to camera one here for a minute and say hi to you guys. Welcome to Lunch and Ham Radio. Today's lunch on this end is, what is it? Egg salad sandwich and Funyuns. Yum, yum. Hang on, we'll go to camera. Go to camera number 4 here, the look down camera. I got some homegrown tomatoes, egg salad sandwich, and Funyuns. How cool is that? Back to camera 1 here. And as you guys may have already figured this out, my guest today is none other than the DX commander, Callum McCormick. M0, and I forget the rest of your freaking call. M0
MCX.
something. And now I got dogs barking in the back. Let's go to camera 2, and I'm going to bring in Callum here. Boy, we got we got all kinds of issues. Guys, here's the thing.
It's fun. Life's fun.
I am trying. I'm trying to up the audio game.
1, 2.
Yep, you're in there.
You can just about hear me on an echo, but it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2.
I'm having an issue here with all the system stuff working with each other. It should not be echoing. Let's see. I'll bring
2.
you. Now you're echoing. Wow. Why is
CQDX, hello from Central England.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gone now.
There you go. Okay.
Can you hear me all right, young Bob?
I can hear you just fine. How are you hearing me, Callum?
Fine. Tiny bit of reverb, but not echo. Do you know what I mean? There's a hell of a difference. So it doesn't matter. It sounds like you're short path from California, something like that.
Yeah. You know what? We're short path. So today, guys, welcome. Let's see, who do we have in the house here?
I've got to say hello to Andy Cowley. He's on every blooming stream I've been on the last month.
Me too. I was just about to say Andy's in the house. Brother Andy in the house. Ooh. Let's see, Chris Townsend is in the house. Andy here, actually... we'll just add him right into the chat there and put him up there. Duff Jacks, like the echo, 10-4. Yeah.
We just need a Roger Bleed.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out why the echo is coming in here. I don't know.
Well, don't worry about that. Let's talk about something interesting and. They won't mind. They won't mind. It's just, we're an amateur show, after all. It's amateur radio, not professional broadcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bob's show. My name's DX Commander. I was going to introduce you, Bob. KCQDA, the show your mother warned you about.
There you go. Hey, I've got to have you do my intro for me.
That'd be fun, actually. If you write me the script, we could do it fun, a little music bed.
Here, we'll do it just like this. Give me a second here.
Buckle up, kids, because it's time for the ham radio show your mother warned you about. Live from the Southern Idaho Command, it's Bob and the K6 UDA radio show. Buckle up, kid.
We can do better than that.
We could do better than that.
We can do much better than that.
Just before we started, Callum and I were talking about this. Why is it that the 2 oldest guys in this whole YouTubers bunch are the 2 funniest and the 2 coolest guys on the freaking...
Because I tell you, we're the most perverted.
Yeah, that's probably true. I like them big, you like them small.
There we go. That's right. Give me a ballet dancer any day. As long as she's legal, I'm all fair game. Wendy's heard it all before. Don't worry.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, so Callum, you're over there in England, and it's lunch here in the middle of the U.S. It's a little after dinner there, isn't it? So it really isn't lunch.
So it's just gone 7 o'clock local time, and next week that'll be because the clocks come back again on the 31st. Well, it's the last Sunday, I think it is, which is, it's always CQ Worldwide weekend. That's when the clocks change. And so next week it'll be 6 o'clock, if you know what I mean. And we get closer to the US in a funny sort of way.
Well, and then we go further back too, because we go back.
Your clocks change as well. I didn't know that.
Yes. Now, when I was in
CQ Worldwide weekend.
Yes. And what is it, November 2nd or something? I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well,
Sunday happens to be the 31st, so it'll definitely be it's midnight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. In fact, I've always wanted to phone. We've got a speaking clock. Do you remember the speaking clock? You could phone, 0800 time or whatever it was, and you get a lady or a gentleman, and it would say, the time at the third stroke is 11:59 and 50 seconds, and then it would go doot doot doot, and you could set your timer, right? Of course, we don't have. I'm sure the speaking clock still exists. Anyway, I've always wanted to dial in 10 seconds before the clock changes at 1 in the morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning, that'll be, because she'll say, won't she, or he'll say, the time sponsored by Accurist will be 23, 59, and 50 seconds. Then it'll go dee, dee, dee. Oh, yeah, thinking about it, it'll go a whole hour, won't it? It'll go midnight plus 59 minutes, 50 seconds. And then the next one, it'll go back an hour, won't it? I've just never been up and around and remembered to phone the speaking clock. Maybe someone on the live chat has done, and they can tell me what happens. Maybe they say, and now the clocks go back. Have a lovely day. I've got no idea what. I don't know.
It's 0.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Welcome to 0.
That's right, and it's the same with WPX weekend. The clocks go forward for us. That's the end of March, isn't it?
Yes. It is. You know what? I got it.
You had some cool questions, brother.
They are. We're gonna take questions in a few. I got a couple of questions for you. But before, because this is kind of a tradition that I've got here on the KCHDA channel, is when I get a super chat, we do this. And from Andy, nice to see you both. Andy, brother, nice to see you, my friend. And we'll go right back to there. So, guys, if you have a question that you really want to get on here, because it's hard for me to see this, do all the switching stuff. And you know what? I think this is the only mic I've got.
I should give you a 1-to-1 tutorial.
Yeah.
I'm pulling your leg.
Anyway, super chat. That's the way to get my attention on the board here, because I've got all this other crap going on. And let's see. So, tell our audience, yours and mine, I guess, because there's a lot of your guys here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you became a ham, what's your background, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I had some inspiration, and okay, let's just rewind, right? So when you are a YouTuber, you tell the same story over and over again, but you have to remember that most people never watch it, right? So my story is, it's quite funny really, in that, my dad was in the Royal Signals. So, he had and he was an engineer, and he used to bring gear home from work. Not radio gear, we just, bring some weird thing home, we'd take it apart, put it back together again. So I got, I knew the difference between a crosshead screwdriver and a screwdriver. This is like at 6, 7 years old. We could take things apart and put them back together again, fix the mechanical side more than the valves and the electronics. So that was kind of a nice background. I went to a boarding school, Bob, which was a blooming nightmare because effectively there was no girls there. But anyway. But I was in what they call the
That would have been done.
Yeah. It's all right. We were it was a village locally, and then there was the local girls who had like 6 toes and things like that. But anyway, so I got my kicks with the local girls. But I was in the CCF, and the CCF in the UK is like a combined cadet force, it's called. So like on a Wednesday and a Friday afternoon, we'd dress up like little soldiers. It was all Second World War gear, so those nasty uniforms and real brass buckles and everything, which we had to polish, and genuine old-fashioned Second World War boots. This is in the 60s. So it sounded like a long way away, but 46 years. So the gear was only 20 years old, actually. And but we had, some of the older boys, were in charge of the radio, right? And there was a long wire going to this tree, and you could hear them in there talking on the radio to maybe other cadet forces and stuff, which looking back was probably on a 5 megs, 60 meter band. But anyway, but that, all these are just little learning points. And so when I'm introducing ham radio to young people, I just give them a little learning point. So when they're, 45 years old, they go, I remember Callum had something like that, and then they'll get inquisitive, won't they? Because it's very difficult to convert a 10-year-old boy, particularly a girl, to be honest, into ham radio. They're really going to be interested or they're not. And then Bob, I worked for a millionaire on his private yacht. And, we had one of those, like an 8-meter mast, off the side of the bridge, and an HF set in the bridge. And the captain would pick up one of those old-fashioned, what looks like a phone, But he would press all the buttons and dial a frequency in with little push buttons, And he'd go, Portishead Radio, this is Gold Victor, India Delta, over. It was probably, looking back, probably like a 100-watt set, but it was a steel boat in the ocean. Portishead Radio in Bristol heard us really, really well, because it was like doing 1,000 watts, but with the sea, getting that 10 dB kick. And they would go, hello, Golf Victor, India Delta. And he would say, hello, we'd like to make a phone call. So it was a ship-to-shore thing with a phone patch. So, and then you give him a phone number, and it was all over the air. People could hear the phone call, but the boss then would come up and talk to his son, and they would speak in code, about the takings. Nobody knew what it was, but it was actually the takings for the casino last night. So that got me quite interested. Funny story about that is that if you've ever had an Italy station, and at the toe, like a foot, and at the toe of Italy, you've got Sicily, right? So we're coming down not the Adriatic, the other coast, in the Mediterranean coast, down towards, and in the distance, the boss said, the captain and the deckhand and madam, right, were involved in this. She's the boss's girlfriend, all involved in this. So Callum, get up to the boat deck, get the boat hook, because as we go between Sicily and Italy, there's electric wires, right? And there really is electric wires. And by the way, when you're a mile away from these electric wires, they look like they're nearly touching the water. And they said what they do is just the lowest one, just get the boat hook and lever it over the top of the radar arch, right? So we get closer and closer and got the boat hook ready and everything else. Of course, we go under this thing, and it's literally 300 feet up in the air, So that was about as technical as it got. And then a couple of years later, I'm back in with a girlfriend in her car, and she's got a CB radio, And so finally, the gate opened for me. If it wasn't her, it would have been an amateur radio operator. That's why it's important. Just don't keep selling it and selling it and selling it. You just got to show somebody once, let them remember it, and then years later they'll go, "Oh, that was good fun." And so I'm sure a lot of my cubs and I was a group scout leader, Bob, right? and had all the uniform and all the baloney, right? And but I was very, very keen with the amateur radio at the time, and I became the governor, you know, the boss. So of course, all these poor scouts and cubs and everything, at least once a term, 3 times a year, they'd have a radio night, you know. And I wasn't expecting any results. I mean, sometimes it was quite a simple radio night. It'd be like a bit of 2 meters VHF, and they would just, you know, talk to a victim, I used to call it. Barry used to get involved, M0DGQ. He was about 10 miles away, you know, and he was quite good with a microphone. And what I'd do is I'd get them to write on a piece of paper their name, you know, their favourite football club, you know, if they had a pet, you know, things like that. So little Johnny would get on the... He'd get on the radio, and Barry would talk to him. He'd go, okay, well, hello, yeah, my name's Barry, right? Over. Now you go, hello, my name's Johnny. I have a pet rabbit called Fluffy. My favourite football club is Manchester United. Over. Now, I am convinced none of them will ever become an amateur radio operator unless I had a time machine and go forward, maybe until they're 45 or 50 years old. And then I think, oh, Callum used to do that. He was really into that. What is it? And they'll get on YouTube. And it's one of the reasons I'm on YouTube, because I'm laying down a kind of a legacy of videos for the future, really, for people to go, oh, yeah, it looks quite good fun, you know, whatever. Now, I'm a very narrow-banded type of person. So in other words, I'm... Go on, Bob.
I had never thought about that as kind of a reason or a motivation to do ham radio videos on YouTube. That is pretty amazing. That's the first time I've ever heard something like that. Very, very cool.
It's I call it a legacy because, you know, I've done... In fact, I had a comment the other day. A guy said, every time I do a Google search, because I'm just getting back into ham radio, he said, one of your videos pops up. He said, so what I've done is I've subscribed because, you know, to hell with it. I can't get away from it. And so I lay down in it. Well, particularly for the first 2 years, I wrote all the questions down that I might be interested in. Like how high should my VHF antenna be? You know, and then when people Google it, it comes up years later. You know, it's a legacy. So anyway, that's what I'm into. You've had a couple of super chats there. You might want to hit your button there, young Bob. Oh, are you on mute or am I on mute? Something's gone wrong.
Oh, I'm on mute because I've got this. You know, I'm trying to figure something out here. I switch between camera 1 that just
the blackout camera.
Hello, camera 1.
There's Evie
here, my main camera, and camera 2, and then sometimes I have camera 3 that's kind of the shitty little camera over there. But so anyway, I'm using this lavalier mic, and I just got this thing called a Rodecaster, and let me show you what a Rodecaster is. You probably know, but it's a soundboard. It's a mixing board, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on here.
Yeah,
because the last couple of weeks I have had nothing but issues and problems with the live
Yeah,
stream.
okay.
So that's my story. Hey, I've got oh, you know what? We do got to do that first.
Yeah, you got to take the phone down. It's so loud. My poor little headphones.
I know, that is loud. James Brown, thank you for the super chat there. And I think, yep, that's it for the super chats for the moment. And guys, if you want to, like I said, if you've got a question that you really want to get in, do a super chat. You do a $1 super chat. Put your question right in there in the super chat, and we will be sure and get to it. Let's see. I've got a couple of questions for you, Callum.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get. Come on. and then we'll turn it over to some of the other guys out there. And I'm going to try out the call-in line. I do have a call-in line. So,
Okay.
Let's see. So, getting into the DX Commander stuff, how long have you been designing and selling the DX Commander?
Okay, I mean, that's actually a good story. So, am I on screen, Bob? Oh, there we are. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello. It's a good story, this, because when Wendy and I went to Bude, and a couple of videos about that on my channel. We went to Bude, and as we were leaving Bude, there was a road which we didn't turn down. I said, do you remember the first time we turned down that road in 2013? She said, yeah. That was to go to a place called the Nook, and the Nook was right on there wasn't a road on the front of the property. It was pebbles and a beach. Okay. And I'd taken, I am not joking, I took enough gear to put a 6-man expedition on. But it was very windy, and I had a couple of DX Commander poles with me. So what I did is I put one of them up and just had a vertical for 40 meters. And my goodness, I just couldn't believe how well it worked. So I had 2 weeks playing with verticals by the sea. And that's the first time it dawned on me that actually vertical on transmit was phenomenal. And during those two weeks, I had an inspiration, probably when I was drunk, to be honest, running more than one element up a vertical. You know, surely that should work. So it took me a bit of time to work out that actually the spacing isn't so much at the top where they meet, it was at the bottom. Because a fan dipole, it goes out like this. But in fact, if you separate it, you can get in closer near the end. I didn't know that. So the next year we booked another 2 weeks, and I did a lot more. So this is holiday time, but I do like 8 to 10 hours a day. I was doing development on holiday, and I got a DX. I got an all-band DX Commander working. I mean, it was like tape and bits of fiberglass and all sorts of stuff, and it was absolutely crap to look at. But fundamentally, it was right. And I spoke to a few people about it in my club at the time, and somebody said, I tell you what, if you could knock that out for £100, right, which is £100, $125, something like that, I don't know, you'd sell them like hotcakes. Well, as it so happens, it didn't look like crap because we had to, make nicely engineered parts and everything. So it was double that price, $200. Still is to this day. And that's how it came along. Now, as a complete accident, all I did is I put it on eBay and thought, what I better do is, because Jed, my young apprentice at the time, who worked in the company for me, he had, I bought him this Canon 5D Mark III. I mean, that was a couple of $1,000. It's doing nothing right now, so ought to sell it really. So I thought I'll make a video. It's my worst video ever, and it's had 100,000 views of how to build a DX Commander, what it is, because nobody knew about it. It was just me in the world. I thought, they'll find this eBay advert, HF antenna, then they'll watch the video, and then they'll go, it might be cool. I mean, I sell maybe 2 a week, you see. And I admire those people because they must have thought, you know what, that probably would work. Turns out, for instance, that Rowley, ZL1BQD, he watched this, and without saying anything, he went in the back garden, he put, I don't know, let's say a 20-meter vertical up, and then a couple of inches away from it, he put like 15 or something, because he'd never done this. And it worked. He only admitted this to me maybe a year ago. And then he ordered the kit, you see. So the whole thing is a bit of an accident. That's the point, because I had 2 other businesses at the time. My love is amateur radio. So how do I get out of my other businesses, effectively? Well, we managed to convince, Wendy's the governor. She's the boss, all right? Because she used to complain bitterly. She would say, you're not along, and I'd go down my office, DX Commander office, and build these kits and get them out the door. But they didn't really know what I was doing. I was just building a PayPal account up with a couple of £1,000 in it, and then I realised actually YouTube was quite powerful. So I've stopped advertising on eBay now, and I still haven't had time. We've got this development website, dxcommander.com, and but I just haven't spent any time on it because I am so busy. Somebody asked me the other day, in fact, it might be one of your questions, Bob, you sent to me that you were going to ask me tonight. What do you do during the day now that you've got Wendy and Lockie for you? So I'm up about 7:30. I did my email at about 9:30 because Monday's always heavy because I've got Friday afternoon, Saturdays and Sundays emails to get through. Oh, I could hear myself then. And I got into the office by 10. Lockie's already doing the labels for the US because 80% of my business is USA. And it wasn't until 2:30 today that I'd cleared everything down, spoken to a couple of suppliers. The wire that I supply is called DX10. Immense problems with that at the moment. It's not your problem if you're watching this. It's my problem. But I've become a tiny person, Bob. Oh, I see. You're looking at the website.
I'm bringing your website up there.
Yeah.
Because that's
we've got a new website coming, and I'm even thinking of hiring someone to finish the new website off because it's just time, you see. And then I went back out to the field about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and pinned 32 radials down with these biodegradable 2-inch, 50mm pins. I started that project on Saturday. The dogs can play on it and not trip up. And in fact, I'm thinking you could probably cut the grass already and it would be fine. But there we are. Bob, you don't need to see any more of that. It's fine, mate. So that's how it started. I got out the other businesses, shut them all down. It took a while because I was convinced that my future was on YouTube and in DX Commander. And yeah, do you know what? I only say this a couple of times, to be honest, Bob, but there's people like you and your supporters and my supporters on YouTube and Jason's and Josh's and that sort of thing. I mean, the product wouldn't, and my YouTube channel, I wouldn't have the confidence if it didn't work, right? The thing is, the product just works. And I don't feel I discovered it. I think it was there to be discovered. The laws of physics are the same in this universe anyway. But what happened is I kind of, I created something out of the laws of physics that works at a price. And it gave people the confidence at the right price to be able to buy one, put it up, and have some fun with it. See, I don't know about you, Bob, but my first antenna was all sorts of rubbish. I mean, the best thing I had actually was a 40-meter loop with a 4-to-1 balun, and that did all bands from 40 meters upwards, really. But there's some people now who are getting licensed to buy a DX Commander. To be honest, they don't know how good life is. I mean, they're really spoiled because it's probably the best transmit you'll ever get without buying a tower, I've probably answered 3 or 4 questions there.
You probably have. Okay, we got to get to a couple of super chats, and I'm gonna do it a little different because somebody bitched and said I got to get a new sound, so we're gonna use a new sound.
Oh, okay.
First off, Christiana. Yeah, Callum's looking good, and hey, Bob. And then we got a question here from Andy Bronson, and you'll get applause too. Let's see. What is it? Hey, Cal, how's the new pole holding up with no guys?
Okay, so regulars to my channel will know that the factory shipped me custom 10-meter poles as a complimentary upgrade to those people that had what I call my original classic. I've got some photos in a minute, Bob, if people are interested.
Absolutely.
We're half an hour into the show, so that's fine. And what we did is we put an thin-walled aluminium pole into the ground. I've put this 10-meter pole over the top, and we're waiting for it to break or not. And it hasn't. It's flopped around. I think we're expecting some heavy wind today or tomorrow, maybe the next day. And I'm really looking forward to that. I want to see the thing bending right over. I think the trick might be actually to have a bit of give in the aluminium as well. So let it all move. We don't know. But watch this space. Because we got the 12.4 meter pole, that starts development. Well, it was going to be Thursday, but we've got CQ Worldwide, which I want to have a play on in the DS Commander Classic, so that might have to start on Monday now. I'm forever a week behind, Bob, right? And then that week behind...
I'm forever like 3 weeks behind, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
So next week, I'm then back on track for last week, but the week before has now been, it's just forever. So we moved factory January 1. We didn't, but we started the factory move, and I thought it would all be fine by the end of April. So we're now nearly the end of October. Only just commissioned the antenna field, to be honest. So, wow.
Very nice. Okay, a couple more questions here.
Yeah.
Let's see. What bands does the DX Commander cover?
Right. Very simple story. Originally, it was 40 and all the other bands. You can do that with 6 elements, you see, because you get 40, you can get 30, you can get 20 and 17. 15 is a just under 3/4 wave on 40 meters. You're getting about 3 dB gain lower down off that. A lot of people on EHAM will tell you that's a sky warmer, and there are some lobes up high on 15, but don't worry about it. There's plenty of gain down low as well. You get 12 and 10, and then the 40 meter is giving you a 1 1.25 wave on 6 meters. There's plenty of people doing FT8 on 6 meters on it as well. And then Steve, temporarily offline, he's opening repeaters 50 miles away with his on 2 meters. So technically it's everything. Anyway, what I discovered, if you took the this is 2 or 3 years ago on another holiday we had, I wanted to get on 80. So I took the 30 meter element off and strung an inverted L up because, there was a little bush over there. So I went up. Actually, I only went up 5 meters, which is 20 something, 19, 18 feet. And then along to a bush. There's plenty of people doing all bands from 80 upwards. 30 becomes a very slight compromise. If you want to run high power, you can't. You have to use an ATU on 30. It is nearly a harmonic of 80 meters or 75 meters, but not quite. So you'll find it's like 5-to-1 SWR or something. And that's it, really. But we're developing new toys as well as I chat here.
Very good. I got to keep undoing my mic because this little lavalier just ain't cutting it, guys. So I got more mics coming this week. I'm going to get this nailed. I'm going to get this nailed down to where I could do everything I need to do. Yeah.
Bob needs some Electro Voice gear.
I do. I've got a new Rode mic coming. I have this Blue Yeti. That's let me go here. Yeah. No, actually, the Blue Yeti over here. Except that's a USB mic, and now with the Rodecaster over here, it just doesn't work. So, you know what? Here's what it is. And I'm going to put
the thing is on YouTube is that Rode and a few other companies have sold the idea of all these microphones, but in fact, well, I mean, it's a big microphone. It's an analog mic. It's hot. It's like a condenser microphone. These things. You can't beat an old-fashioned microphone on a mixing desk.
Yeah.
Instead of all this bloody stuff that's sold to us, right? Road.
Yes.
What other professionals
this is
use?
Sure. I thought that this one was gonna do me good.
I know. I don't like these lav mics. I've tried. I must have wasted money on that many lav mics. I can't get. The only one I think that works is probably what the broadcast guys use. They're like, hello.
Oh, the Shure.
Or Sennheiser or something.
Yes.
I mean, it's
a $600 microphone, and I'm not paying $600.
I know. So you don't pay that. We end up with CRAP. It's all consumer stuff which shoved down the throats of YouTubers, and then we review them, don't we?
I haven't reviewed any mics.
No, I haven't either. But I tell you what, this is an RE20, or this is the 27ND. It's slightly hotter by about 5 dB because of the neodymium magnet.
So,
anyway,
Callum,
whatever.
I need to tell you about a dream I had. And
okay.
I had this dream about getting a vertical antenna for Studio A. And this vertical is going to be an unsupported 80 through 6 meter at least. I want it to break down small enough that I can haul it away for field day if I really want to. But I want to be able to put it out for Studio A, which is this studio here. Studio B will be out in my shop. That'll be a full contest station. But Studio A is kind of like my dream of having like the everyman's station, something that almost anybody can afford. In addition to being able to break down to go to field day, doing 80 through 6, I also need it to be able to withstand the elements here in Idaho, and I want it to be unguyed. I don't want guy wires. So, can you help me?
Yeah. Fundamentally, though, let me just start from the beginning. I mean, is this high power or 100 watts?
This is 100 watts.
Okay, fine. Like with a TS590, or a 7300, where you got an ATU button. Yeah. Okay, you see, there's two different. Let's start where I started from. So the original classic, very simple, and it packs down to 4 feet long, okay, and all the wires and everything else. But to be honest, I mean, it's only like, I might sneeze in a minute. I'll get my mute button ready. Hey, that was quick.
That would have been 4 times for me. Once I started, I got 4 of them.
Oh, right. So most buyers of the original classic stick them in their backyard. A lot of them have a small aluminium tube that's 44 millimeters in diameter, about 1.5 inches, and they shove it up its bottom and unguy it. Now, I don't recommend this, only because I've never tested it, to be honest. I've always guyed mine. And then they put radials down, and the grass grows over it, right? And it's hidden. It's in the corner of the garden, and they have a ball, right? And for 80, they string up an inverted L. To take that down to a field day is a bit of a pain in the arse, isn't it? Because you've got to take it all down and disconnect everything. Oh. For another $200 or $250, whatever it is, you could just buy an expedition pole, which has 4 elements on it and does all the contest bands and all the field day bands. So you can get 80, 40, and 15, remember? 20 and 10 up the side, and then 40 is doing Tier 6. And I don't know, there must have been 50 stations on Region 2, Region 1 field day for USA that was using a DX Commander expedition pole. But because it means that you can create, I mean, my radials are only 10 foot long. The one, because I use an expedition holiday myself. And I do guy it because I can't be bothered hammering a stake in the ground, you know. I just have 3 little steel stakes, hang them in, and do the job. I normally get a couple of garden chairs just because I can't be bothered bending down and lay it on top, string the elements up. I have everything pre-prepared, the shock cord to keep it all steady. And if you wind up your radials properly, and on my last video, last Friday night, people, you could see me, I just grab the radial, grab the end, throw it, the whole thing goes straight, because they're 4 radials on one connector, 11 feet long, 10.5 feet long, 3 meters, connect them up. So Rowley is doing that. Rowley ZL1BQD, he's doing that, and he's got a little YouTube channel. He's doing that, and he says 10 minutes. I mean, it seems a bit ridiculous. I'm about 15 minutes. 10 minutes. So, yeah.
Wow.
I'm doing 15 minutes. I mean, you've got to extend the pole. I wrap a bit of tape around each section, because if it's up for more than a couple of days, I don't want water getting in the sections, or the blistering hot sun and then the cold night. What happens is the fiberglass expands at different... and anyway, you can get a fall down, you know. In fact, that happened live on Josh's channel once. There we are. You know, and then you've got a no compromise, no ATU either. None, right? You just run it. Watch your SWR. Be less than 1.5 everywhere, I would have thought. Unless it's 6 meters. 6 meters might be 1.7, 1.8 to 1. That's all. That's why I was all saying, have you got an ATU button?
I couldn't ask for any more than that. Honestly, that would be awesome. So after the show, I need to get with you and order something that would. That's
right.
That would.
Well, you need to start off with a classic, because it's the toughest, strongest one, and stick it up in studio, whatever, and you'll be a convert by the time you're done. You know.
Really?
Yeah,
because
I'm
right
sure
now
of it,
I'm using a homebrew dipole, 80-meter dipole, and I got to run it through a tuner. So, let's see. You know what? One thing I wanted to try today. I got my Google phone number, and I believe we can add a caller. So I'm gonna go to the caller screen.
How cool is that?
Yeah, we're gonna try the caller screen here, and go ahead and call in 208-352-3819. We'll take the first one that comes in.
Should I put that on the live chat, Bob?
Excuse me?
208.
208.
What's the number again?
It's 1-208-352-3819. 3819 to call in, and we'll get another caller on and see what happens. So I'm going to come back.
We need a clever person to call in.
We need people to call. We need somebody to call in. A shill. A shill,
Make
if
my
you
day.
will. Some hot girl. I don't know.
A hot girl. We could get Raisa from St. Petersburg.
You know,
YL Raisa.
I was kind of thinking of like one of these. One of these two. But
okay, well, while we're waiting for the caller, you indicated to me that you saw an expedition being put out one field day, and you thought it looked really complicated.
I did, and we got a caller.
Okay, let's take the caller.
I'm going to pull this up.
Lovely.
And I believe I got to hit 1. Caller, you're on. Hello, caller.
Hello, have you recently been involved in a vehicle accident?
We're calling about your... Oh, come on. All right, we'll try it again here.
Yeah.
Caller, you're on. Hello, caller. Come on. It's,
Maybe someone wants to call me
I don't know.
in the UK. And I could just hold it like that.
Let's, okay, now we'll put it on the roadcaster. Caller, go ahead.
Oh, hello there. This is John. I'm listening to your podcast and stream, better said, I guess,
John.
on YouTube.
Beautiful, John. You got a call sign or a question?
The call sign is Kilo Alpha 7 Tango X-Ray Sierra.
Okay.
Well,
KA7
KA7TXS John, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, KA, Kilo Alpha 7 Tango X-Ray Sierra. And
Yeah,
hello
go
to Callum and to you as well.
Hey,
Fantastic.
thanks for calling. Do you have a question for Callum?
Yes, I do. Actually, I do. I've watched him do some work with his antenna design there, and I've worked with both verticals and with the inverted V. But I was going to say, following some of his advice on the verticals, I do not own a DX Commander. I don't have that type of footprint available to me. But his advice on antenna design and so forth there has been really, really useful for me here on a small stamp footage, if you will, on property over here. I just wanted to send kudos that way. Also, I wanted to reach out to you as well. I know that you moved out of California. Congratulate you on that. And plus, I'm a 36-year-old veteran in law enforcement, and say continue the great work and keep up everything that you're doing. You're looking great, and you're sounding great as well.
Hey, thank you. And somebody said your audio is better than mine. I'm still trying to figure this whole roadcaster thing out, but yeah, thanks. And let me see if I can defocus me. And I think I gotta put me up here. Behind me there, back over here, that's the wall of law enforcement patches. Each one of those guys back there is a ham, got a call sign on the back of those patches. And that used to be kind of up close to me, but I couldn't figure out a way to make that happen here in Studio A. So it was on the wall up here, but you guys couldn't see it. Now it's back there. But hey, thank you for your service. And we're gonna go ahead and anything else, caller? And
no, that's
Should I
about
answer
it.
his
I just
question?
wanted to, I know that you were trying this out. I was watching you here, so best of luck to you and to Callum as well. Good luck to him, and we hope to catch you on later on one of your YouTubes or on one of your podcasts.
all right, hey, thanks. And
Bye-bye.
John had an interesting question there. He said that he was worried about the footprint. So not last summer, but the summer before COVID, I ran 35 short radials, 10 foot long, just 10 foot long, in a 180-degree arc. And on 80 meters, I was crossing the Atlantic on SSB. So I know we read the books, and it tells us that we need all these radials. But the difference between very few number of radials and a ton of radials is about 3 dB, right? So that's like going from 400 watts to 800 watts. Well, are they going to hear you on 400 watts? Yeah, probably. 3 dB, most people have trouble listening, determining what the difference is between, you're 3 dB stronger now, right? Particularly on SSB. And on FT8, that's going to be, you're going to go from minus 24 down to minus 21, right? It's not a lot in it. So don't worry about footprints, or test one out. Get a 20 meter, get a little tree or a banister rail, sticking up the corner of your fence, do a 90-degree radial arc with, 10-foot radials, 8 feet radials, and what's 20 meters? About 17, 18 feet or something. Just get it up. The center core of your coax are going to go up the pole, and the braid, the coax, is just going to go out on a few radials. Just put a bit of copper down, and you'll be amazed. Don't make the mistake I do, which is judging your receive as you transmit. Okay? You might be picking up next door because this is low angle stuff. You're not going to be picking up next door neighbour's fridge where your G5RV didn't, right? Because you cannot get out. So invest in your $20 and get yourself a loop on the ground. And what's that? 15 feet square, a loop on the ground. Needs another reel of coax. Most rigs, half-decent rigs anyway, will have a little receive jack on the back. So you've got a dedicated receive antenna and a first-class transmit antenna if you've got noise. If you haven't got noise, it doesn't matter. Bob, I'm thinking this is, what, a 1-hour show or something?
It is a 1-hour show. We are coming up pretty quick here. Let's see. Speaking of that question, I wanted to talk, have you talk a little bit about getting the thing up. Like I said, yes, I did get to see a DX Commander. I think it was a classic. It was at Field Day. Helped put it up. Got a little bit of lesson about it. I was fairly impressed. I was a little concerned. It seemed a little daunting. There was a lot of guys, a lot of guy wires that went up. There was a shit ton of radials that went up or went down.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, how critical is it? And you kind of answered that, but how critical is it to get the radials in the right place, the right length, the right everything about radials, and how many radials do we need to make that work?
Okay, now I don't know if you're seeing my screen there. What button do I press?
Solo that. There you go.
Okay, so that's a pre-built. So this is, Bob, this is a cut-down version of the Classic, but it's exactly the same. This is the Rapide, okay? It's the 7-meter pole. It does exactly the same thing. So now the Rapide, so we don't make mistakes. We cut them hexagonal, whereas the Classic is circular. So this is the bottom plate. So we guy it here. Then that's it looking up. So each element, hopefully you can see that. I'm looking at my screen and it's a little bit slow, but anyway. Each element stops and then there's some Marlowe shock cord going between where the element stops and the next spreader plate. So these are all quarter waves, look. That's just a close-up of showing you where the elements go up. So it's a one-man job, because the trouble is if you get too many people involved in this, it can get, you don't need to. It's a 15-minute job, right? So that's it built. There's no radials on. Yes, I've got some guy wires there and all the elements going straight up. This is the Rapide. It's exactly the same as the Classic. In principle, it's just better photographs because I've just took these recently. So there's the base plate. I can zoom in here, hopefully, and you might actually be able to see what's going on here. So we've got the base plate here with the SO239. The center of the 239 comes to the driven plate. And I've bought some square cube numbered beads just for fun. And so I know which element is. You cut it, you get a cut chart, and you cut these to size. And then you put 4 elements, 4 radials on one fork connector on the base plate. And then together that makes up the system. There's a close-up here of all the stainless hardware and the aluminium plates. Again, this is the Rapide. But fundamentally, that's the difficult bit. The rest is just easy. Put it all together. Forget anything else. So that's with the radials connected. As I said, these are 10 feet long, right? And I'm not joking. It takes me about 4, maybe. You got to kneel down on the grass, okay? So I've got to put these out. So there we are. That's effectively it. Hopefully you can see all that. So you can make a mountain out of a molehill if you want to, right? But you don't have to.
Right.
Yeah. And the problem is with all these things is that you need just 2 garden chairs so you're not bending over, Lay it down, extend all the pole out, put all the plates on. Obviously, the bigger holes in the plates go further down the tube and they will stop at the right place. You don't need to be hanging around and trying to work it out and everything else. I still do actually, hose clamps with tubing. So yeah, you can put all sorts of, it's called a stay-up kit. I'm going off the idea of a stay-up kit. I've now got, on my Instagram, the Ex-Commander Instagram, you'll see that I've put some self-amalgamating, this is for permanent use, self-amalgamating tape, then 3M Temflex insulation tape, then a cable tie. Cut it off, and that will make a permanent seal and stop the sections coming down with, heat and cold and expansion, that sort of thing. And that should last forever, to be honest. For a portable,
I am just hoping you could send me like stupid guy instructions with this thing, because half of what you said just went right over the head. You know what? I'm just thinking of big boobs.
A quarter wave for the 10-meter band is 2.5 meters long. So there's a cut chart where you get a roll of wire, you get stop sharing that. And in the USA, you got to remember the USA is only the 3 countries in the world that are still on inches, right? So I talk in meters quite a lot, but from Harbor Freight or whatever, you can get a dual tape measure that's got inches and meters on it, right? So you just roll the tape out, cut the wire, fold it over, seal it up, put a fork connector on the other end. There's a quarter wave element for you. Easy. You connect that for your fork connector, put it up through the nylon plates, and you connect a bit of, effectively, it's marine shock cord to the next plate, and it just keeps it tensioned. And fundamentally, that's all it is, Bob. Have you got that now?
I do. That is very cool. Okay. I know we're coming up on the top of the hour here, and I know it's getting late. I wanted to 2 questions I wanted to ask, but let's go. What are the differences between ham radio in the U.S. and ham radio in the U.K. As far as your perspective?
There is a lot more handies, walkie-talkies, handy-talkies use, I think, in the USA. I don't know, from the impression I get is that a lot of the US guys are buying a lot of handies for all sorts of reasons. We buy a lot of handies as well, but they're blooming useless because, you get a mile range unless you've got a repeater, you see. And our repeater's a little bit further apart. Some cities have better repeater coverage than others. It just depends which repeater group got together and decided to invest their money and time and effort into putting a nice repeater up, I think. In fact, I've got a great repeater, a great walkie-talkie, handy-talkie video coming out probably Thursday, Friday, which should be quite good fun, actually. We played hide and seek, Carl and I, with talkies, right? And he's giving me clues where he is. It was a bit of a laugh.
Very, very
Other than that, we do the same stuff, man. We get on the radio and we play.
Okay, well, I wanted to. I also wanted to ask you. In the U.S., ham radio operators are just like, we're the shit with women. Women love us. How about in the U.K.?
Well, ham radio has a bit of a reputation, but only if you go to the ham fests, all right? You get the dregs of the ham radio world there. You just do. They've got mandatory gravy stains down there, gilet jackets with all the pockets and several handies attached to them. They haven't seen a dentist maybe in 10 years. Now, that's not everybody. This is just a stereotypical bit of fun I'm having, by the way, in case anybody wants to start commenting on Bob's channel. because everybody's not like that at all, are they? And just saying it's a little idea that you have in your head, you know. I remember making a video once.
What I always say is become
club.
a ham radio operator, and you too will have girls like that on your arm.
That's right, man. Yeah, you can. Yeah, lovely. Tremendous.
Let's see. So we're just up at the top of the hour now, and you know what? We haven't really taken many questions, so let me look through here real quick. Anything else you want to talk about? You know, one of my things, and this just completely fell in, and was a wonderful kind of a segue. Was a few weeks ago I had Quirky James Hannibal from Quirky QRP. Have you heard of him?
No, it's a new one for me.
Okay. Well, he's an inventor of ham radio things, and I had him on the show. But what it kind of sparked, it was a larger conversation about the future of ham radio and the FCC and all that. And
I'm not that much of a visionary, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of, you know, I like to take on the hard subjects. So
yeah.
What I kind of decided out of that was I wanted for the rest of the year on these Monday shows to spotlight the small ham radio creators, the guys that invent stuff, the guys that you know have small businesses and do stuff. So the DX Commander was a natural because you're pretty much a one-man operation, and you've got a worldwide audience basically.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for making ham radio a better place to be, number one. For having a sense of humor about it, number two, and not taking yourself or the hobby or anything else too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I take seriously, and I'll just ask I know there's 72 people watching now, and a very important message I want to get out, Bob, just before I leave, is that we often rely on eHam for reviews, don't we? And I do. That the eHam reviews pay my rent effectively, right? So if you've got a DX Commander and you haven't left a review, just 3 or 4 short lines would be really appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. A couple of quick questions I'll get in here. Dawn wants to ask, when are we going to get Emily back? Next to the antenna, or just going to call it an oscillator?
Yeah.
So I think you copied that from me, bringing your daughter in. Bringing a cute daughter in and her cute friends. You must have copied that from me. But you know what?
No, because if you go back in time, I did an Emily interview about nearly 4 years ago.
Well, I think it was probably about 4 years ago that I brought Danielle in as the ring girl for...
Oh, right, I see.
For the shootout.
I mean, I didn't even know you existed then. But, yeah, whatever. Let's say we copied you.
You know what? But it just goes back to the same thing of we are the 2 coolest guys in ham radio.
We certainly are. Well, I try to be. I don't try and be cool. I'm just the way I am, I think.
Yeah. Hey, let's see. Exchanging info. I think that's it. I don't think I see. Do you see any big questions?
No, I've answered anything that I've spotted. I've just the Emily thing. I mean, Emily and I used to do this science quiz, and then it was locked down, and then she was at Hannah's place, so we had Hannah and Emily, on the same Zoom call. We did this science thing. Mm-hmm. And it was just funny because she'd never seen the word oscillator before and pronounced it oscillator, So we just thought that was funny. Same with nebula, right? She hadn't seen the word nebula before and called it a nebula. So the 18-meter pole was called the nebula, and the nickname for the 12.4-meter telescopic pole is the oscillator, right? So yeah, she might come up with another couple. Who knows? But I've got. I mean, she's busy, young lady. She's got boyfriends and everything. Well, one boyfriend, and getting her here like on a Saturday night or a Sunday night reliably. So we might do a nice big science quiz over Christmas, I think, Bob. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you know what? My kids, they're all off in California. Danielle she's got a boyfriend now. Actually, he's one of the big shots, one of the big guys it's called Ultra 4 Racing. So if you got any kind of an interest in off-roading or off-road racing, look up Ultra 4 Racing, and Danielle she's getting to be kind of a big shot in that world.
Lovely.
Because of her boyfriend.
Okay, Bob, I need to go and have my dinner now, and I'd like to wish all your people, and the 64 people that are watching right now, a very good evening from here in the middle of England.
Callum, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to jump over here to camera 1, and I'm going to take your feed out there and run that back down here. And
thank you so much.
Guys, again, I want to thank you guys for joining me and Callum here on K6 UDA Radio. I got to bring that music down just a little bit. All these new things I get to try. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I want to thank all my patrons on Patreon. You guys rock. I don't have the current list of you guys up here on the screen with me, but thank you. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button, the like button. Leave a comment on the video after the show if you're watching this afterwards. I'll see what I can break out into bite-sized little pieces here and post those up as individual videos. And I think that is really all we've got today. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next Monday, and I'll see you on the regular video on Fridays usually. I'm Bob, K6.